Hi, everyone. Welcome to Food with Benefits. I'm your host, Austin, and I just gotta say, I am super excited to be doing something like this. I've been wanting to make a podcast for so many years. I've been listening to them since they first came out, and who knows when, probably before I was born, honestly. But really, I have been super into the history of food lately, but I have not been able to find anything that really talks about our relationship with food that isn't so much of a, have a healthy relationship with food. You can eat bad things, but make sure you eat greens, and that's not what I want. I want to talk about our relationship with food and how it shapes us who we are as people, not just in an interfamilial, relationship of how has your mom's cooking shaped you as a person, but more so how has society shaped you as a person through food, and how has our worldview of food changed over time. And so that's what I'm going to be covering with Food with Benefits. So this isn't just going to be a podcast on our relationship with food in a healthy or unhealthy way, although that's absolutely valid and something that you should be informed about. This is more so going to be about how food has healthily or unhealthily shaped who we are today as individuals, and even how those relationships differ in a cultural context, and how this relationship has changed over time in a societal context. Our main goal here is to expand both yours and my worldview, our connectedness, and learn more about what makes us human through something that each and every one of us does every single day. Do you remember the first food you ever ate? Not just something like your dinner for your 10th birthday or your favorite meal, but quite literally the first thing you remember eating, no matter how young you were. I remember mine, Rice Krispie treats. Not the store-bought kind though, the ones that you make with melted, gooey mini marshmallows that get everywhere. And a box of Rice Krispies all placed in a pan that's greasier than that guy who hit on you at your first college party. I remember the absolute mess they made. I remember watching my mom mix it up with a rubber spatula and attempting to clean the spatula to let me eat whatever didn't make it in the pan. I even remember exactly where that pan was placed on the counter in our haunted 100-year-old creaky home in Sulphur Springs, Texas. Now, I probably remember it from all that marshmallow hitting my 6-year-old brain like I just hoovered a bump, but oh my god, I still remember how it tastes today. So my question for y'all today is, what's the first thing you remember eating? Whether it was good or bad, your favorite dish, or something that you will never eat again. What's the first thing that just stood out so much that your little lizard brain was like, yes, we must remember this forever? Back to those Rice Krispie treats real quick. I've been spending a lot of time recently looking back at my history with food. I'm actually making a cookbook as a family gift. I guess is somewhat to spite COVID or something. But it's had me digging through my mom's kitchen drawers for old sticky notes, faded pages of notebooks, and loose pages of paper for recipes. Looking back at these recipes I've grown up with, and thinking back to holiday dinners with my family and those random Tuesdays when my mom decided to go all out for dinner, it made me think about how my family's culture with food has affected me and shaped me who I am as I've grown up. It became even more apparent to me after I moved in with my boyfriend, Roy. I'll have him taste something I'm cooking for dinner and ask him what he thinks, which is always setting myself up for failure anyway, as he says he only has 3 taste buds. I've just learned to take an "it slapped" as a compliment and move on. I've given up hope of getting any critiques out of him. As I start to explore cooking at home more, and Roy and I start to make our own traditions together, I've just had this wonder about if other people view food the way I do. Do others view food as this ultimate expression of love, of caring, of a way to connect with others over the lowest common denominator, food? It's something we all share, from the poorest of the poor to the obscenely rich. We all have to eat. how is that different among your neighbors, your coworkers, and people across the world? And what role does our culture play into this? After the break, we'll take a look at what I've been planning for the future for Food with Benefits. So, in case you're wondering, who let this man have a podcast? I'm happy to say that Anchor.fm allows me to have this platform, and honestly, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. I promise I'm not crazy. Let me explain it a bit. It's totally free. Like, seriously, they don't even ask for a credit card. They have an app on the App Store, Google Play Store, as well as a website that features all the creation tools you need to start a podcast, even letting you record and edit the podcast directly through the app or your computer. They even let you include music from Spotify in your podcast if you're looking for cool music for your dance break. They'll distribute your podcast for you on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so many more platforms. You can even make money from your podcast with no minimum for listeners, clicks, or whatever else other platforms require. It's quite literally everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Just bring an idea, your phone, in a few minutes, and you'll have a podcast up in no time. So if you're wanting to start a podcast, you should totally download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And we're back. So, as you come along with me on this journey, I hope we can understand each other on a deeper level through this thread that intertwines all of us together in some way or another. There's so much here that we'll be learning together, exploring our evolution from gathering berries in prehistory to now being able to order a $25,000 taco, not tacos, from a resort in Cabo San Lucas, to how World War II leading into post-war America changed our relationship with food in a way that is still the norm today, to how the transatlantic slave trade and Native Americans influenced, if not totally created, what we consider traditional American cuisine. There's a lot to cover that I'm so interested in exploring with you guys. I'm working on these now, so we'll explore these topics soon enough.
I try to remember. But when everything is coming back to me, I feel as if my memory is paralyzed.
Now let's see. What is the last thing you can remember?
I don't know.
Thank you guys for listening to my ramblings on this first episode here. If you want to stay in touch, you can follow the podcast on Instagram at Food with Benefits Pod, or you can follow me personally on Instagram too at AustinEatsATL. There you'll be able to take a look at what I'm cooking and may even be able to peek a recipe or two every once in a while. Feel free to shoot me a message if you have an interesting food story, or let me know the story about the first thing you remember eating. I'd love to chat with you about your own personal relationship with food. And if you have an interesting take on your relationship with food, I'd love to chat and see if you'd like to join me on the podcast. I don't have to be so lonely here. I only have my cats for attention right now. My boyfriend's at work. Thanks again for taking a listen, and I'll catch you next time on Food with Benefits. Stay safe, stay curious, and stay full, everybody.